Jules,
Yes, ma'am.
dinner is scheduled for about an hour from this point. You know that Romero is likely going to make some arrangements for even not making it a big deal, he's going to make it a pleasant evening type of situation to meet your friends. You did ask him to meet you there in an hour, and he anticipated them arriving after that.
Okay.
So he's probably going to show up to the house before you do from your current arrangement.
Okay. She'll relay that to the boys.
So, this guy's not like a vampire then,
No.
but we're not allowed to eat him.
Yeah, don't eat him yet.
But the chef's fair game.
Yeah, the chef's the better game. He needs to be silent. Complications, you know. I can't have complications.
I'm good at that.
Good. And also, as I get better with, controlling people, who knows? Y'all can stay at my place. Maybe. If you like it. So, yeah.
I'm kind of been scoping out my own place.
Well, it's up to you. Like, this is a free country. We are not Russia, after all, so,
I feel like Boris and the guys are like, hey! She's out of nowhere. What do you mean by that?
And then something like Jules was like, oh, ugly men. Oh, God. Run away.
They all look so similar.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 dinner bell.
Time to learn some blood sorcery.
I mean, technically. Anyway.
So
you may or may not have somebody with something similar available.
probably. Anyway, Jules will relay that and say, yeah. So I'm gonna go smooth things over Romero, and then y'all can show up. Okay. Don't eat the.
We'll go together.
Yeah, we can go together if you want, but just know he's gonna be there already.
Alright, okay.
Yeah. Does anyone want to ride with me?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
I have to air out the van.
Yeah.
I'll go with the doc.
Yeah. Go in the van. Yeah.
Even if they... Oh god, the image of the Crocs. Anyway, even if you walk, it's not extremely far away. It's about 3 blocks away, give or take a little bit of distance for alleyways.
Nah, I'm too hungry. I'll get distracted.
But it's not as close as like in season 2 of Shadow of the Spires, where you can just walk and just be there right on the corner, right?
Like,
Yeah.
Trip over the curb and land
So-
from one place to the other, yeah.
If I mark it out for you, roughly, on the map, this golden square is where the 500 Club is.
Okay.
Your home is essentially on the corner or midway point of Jackson Square right here. You're about 2 streets over and 2 streets down.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Only a couple city blocks.
yeah. That's a lot farther than the hotel that Abigail
Yeah.
refused to walk to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would be a reasonable distance for like a bike or maybe your vehicle. Because also walking in the south during the majority of the year is a miserable experience.
It is nighttime though.
It is.
Oh great, you just don't have the sun on you, but you still have the muggy air and it's still warm and it's still
Look, the sun's like
wafting off
90% of the
Mississippi.
issue.
And
Okay,
it's-
that's-
when
we
is it?
also don't sweat.
July. June, July,
It's June, yeah.
June.
You're midway. You're
Well-
towards the end of June now.
At least it's not August. August would be very unbearable, but yeah, I do agree. You can smell everybody else.
Yeah, most of true that most of the issue is the sun during these months, but yeah.
Well, Jules will get into her car and wait for Hank to get into the passenger seat.
Hank will jump in, not a problem.
She'll wait for them to come up behind her in the van.
You see, this is a nicer ride than the van, trust me. You do not want to be in the van for the foreseeable future.
Is that bad?
That bad. Worse than that bad. Yeah.
Worse than water?
Oh,
Worse than that.
Jules, you're easily able to lead the group. You take a circuitous route. You go along the less busy streets, so you don't have to wait for as many people crossing. And you pull along the side of your home. So your home is near one of those alleys that is just wide enough for small cars and foot traffic.
Okay.
And then the opposite side is street oriented, so you would be on the street side. So I had to.
What'd you have
zoom
to do?
in. Wow. I'm gonna zoom all the way out apparently. I'm
Oh.
going to zoom in and mark the location of your home for you.
Okay. Okay. I got the map zoomed in as well. I can kind of see and show the audience.
So you travel from the 500 Club northeast by east about 3 blocks. You come down 1, head west and south, and you park roughly along the front street side over here.
Oh, okay.
So your home is actually right here on the inner corner of this area, but you park on the street side.
Okay.
It is ringed by tall stonework fencing, which we touched on before, but you know not to try and go over the top of. You are well aware that some of the older practices of the city where they would cement broken bottles to the top to dissuade intruders has in fact been part of this since before you bought it. The rough iron gate at the front, the gentleman who guards the front door greets you politely. It's a different individual tonight. You recognize him as George.
Hi, George.
Ah, Miss Romero.
How's it going?
It's going well. How can I help you this evening? And he quickly moves up to the gate to open it. Mr. Fontenot is out. Oh, I'm so sorry. You can tell he's a little bit newer on the job. You haven't seen him out here too often, but he is a familiar face. You imagine him working the front door is probably new for him. I'm sorry, Mrs. Fontenot.
It's fine.
Mr. Romero is currently out. Can I assist you with anything? And he kind of glances over your shoulder, noticing your company, and looks to you to make sure that you're not under duress.
This is Hank, and in the back behind me are some associates. We're coming to meet my husband tonight.
Oh, he did mention there would be a dinner. Right this way, please. And he ushers you into the courtyard. As you step in, for the rest of the group, this is your first time being here, you notice that there are nice, large cobblestone-style steps up to the front stairs, leading up to a wraparound porch that encompasses most of the home, from what you can see. And in this little courtyard, there's just lush greenery everywhere. There are vines growing over the interior of the tall stone wall that you couldn't see on the exterior of it, except for maybe peeking over the top here and there. There's a soft grass carpet weaving in between some of the cobblestones. There's a water feature off to the right, a small fountain with a dolphin on it. And he quickly, once the last person enters the courtyard, he will close the gate behind them, latch it, and then rush up the front steps to open the door for you, Jules.
Okay. Why, thank you.
Of course, yes. Would you like anything? Do you need me to notify any of the help for you?
Yeah, the chef. Tell him that we're gonna be in the living room.
Certainly. Would you like for me to open the sidewalls for the porch?
Sure.
Okay, so that being said, your home is a beautiful ivory base coat with a deep, like luscious, almost ivy style green for some of the trim, specifically like the shutters and whatnot. And you know what he's discussing is your your wraparound porch that reaches the alley side. The tall, like floor to ceiling shutters open out, and you can see into the alley if you want to. Like, they can't approach you well, but you can see out into the alley if you want. And that, unfortunately, does open some of the house to less privacy.
We'll work at it. That's out of character, of course. I don't want to make him, like, close it again. Make him open it, then close it.
He will excuse himself once he's certain that you and your company are inside comfortably, and he locks the front door after. Clearly goes to get the chef first, and then he'll proceed out to the porch, and you can hear the shutters being unlatched and opened.
Frank, don't make a mess, please.
What do you mean?
Just take him to the van.
No, 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 no.
Put plastic down and take him to the
No.
van.
No, no, no.
What do you mean?
When you feed, do not make a mess, please.
What is the point?
You can kill him, I don't care. Just don't make a mess.
Alright.
Out of character, I'm pretty sure there's some part of the house where you could probably take someone if you wanted to get rid of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
It's innocuous guest bathroom number 3, which you are well aware of, has been repurposed multiple times for family business on occasion. But it cleans up very easily and it's spotless.
so the murder bathroom, basically. Okay.
Yes.
Take him to this bathroom, and she'll take him to the murder bathroom. Here. Okay.
You also technically have a very small garden shed out back. Technically.
Oh, there's also a garden shed.
Oh, that's probably better.
Okay. Okay.
Can I take him now?
As soon as he shows up.
As you were saying this, you hear Miss Fontenot
Oh, hi.
from down the hall, and you see the chef, who is rosy-cheeked, like chef hat in hands, very awkwardly turning the brim between his fingers, looking at you, and then he realizes you have company with you. It's kind of obvious he thought maybe that only you were asking to see him.
Out of character, I can't remember his name. I can't.
It's okay.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
He ain't gonna be around much longer.
Yeah, she'll introduce him to Frank. Hey, do me a favor. Go with Frank out to the shed, okay?
Did I do something wrong? This one?
No.
No. I want to use dominate to compel.
Okay.
Is free. Look him in the
Yeah.
eye and say, "Go with Frank."
Yes, madame, right away.
And then she'll let him go out there.
So you
Oh, sure.
open the opposite door from the front. So you open the back door, It's a small, it's similar in size to the courtyard, a little bit larger. This one is completely encased by the privacy wall that you have. There is a back wrought iron fence to it, like opening gateway, but you can't see through it. It's much more solid than the rest. Off to the left side, not quite touching the wall because you wouldn't want it near enough that they could avoid trying to step on top of the wall, is a garden shed, probably about 5 by 10, if that. It's a very tight squeeze. Specifically, a tight squeeze.
Can I follow them in? I'll ask Jules. Can I go with?
Oh, Jules wouldn't have cared. She left it up to Frank to deal with that particular thing, but she doesn't care who goes. She just,
Thank you.
but she's not following all out there. She just basically pointed the way to where the shed is.
I have my hand on the back of his neck as we walk in.
You can tell he feels a little, like, tense with you touching him, but he's just like, did the missus need something? Are you one of the new workers here? It's nice to meet you. Did she say anything? His eyes become, like, a little bit wide. Like, he has the sense that he's in danger, but simultaneously he would rather follow what Jules has asked of him than act on his self-preservation right now.
If I may also add, I also have obvious predator as a flaw.
Oh yes, that is very much a part of his discomfort, especially in being near you, let alone you having, like, guiding him as a prey animal essentially would by the neck into a slaughter chute. Hank, Frank, stepping into the shed, this place is already kind of uncomfortably close for you. The chef himself is not a small man either. He is not particularly muscular, but he does enjoy his cooking and his food. And as you get there, he starts to look around confused, and you can see that there are various garden implements and tools scattered about, hung up neatly on the wall, on a few small benches here and there, small potted plants in the process of being replanted or shifted across to another area. It's a well-used, well-maintained space with the kind of not quite clutter, not quite organization that shows that it's cared for, but also commonly used. And the ground itself is the floor for the shed. There is not a wooden floor in here.
Are there any, like, tarps or anything around in this place? Like, I've been told not to make a mess, so I want to, like, put something down if I can.
You see a dirty green tarp thrown in one of the corners, and you can see the bottom of several ceramic pots popping out from beneath it. It looks as though it might be laid over some plants.
Alright, I'll pull that out.
You find this is likely one of the sources of Jules' particularly favorite special cigarettes.
I don't know what that is, so...
Yep. In the process of being
I see some plants.
Repotted and haphazardly covered up to not be obvious. In the meantime.
I see some greenery. I don't understand what it is. It doesn't trigger anything in his brain.
That's fine. Hank, you probably recognize these.
Sure, yeah. So while Frank is pulling top off Jules' special plants, Hank is going to step in and bite the chef.
Hey, no fair!
He wobbles for a moment and kind of latches onto you for support, Hank.
Okay.
But there is no fight. He's overcome by the bite itself.
I'm taking 1 blood point,
Okay.
and then I will disengage and push him in Frank's direction.
Frank, you're standing there with the tarp in your hands.
I'll drop the tarp on the floor and try and pull him onto it as best as I can, but I'm too invested in eating now.
It's that situation of if you have siblings, the first one to get to the food got the food.
I don't mind. I don't mind sharing. It's like, that's not fair. You start without me.
Frank's just going to take a step back so he doesn't get splashed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that he's just going to step out of the way because he's seen Frank feed before, and he knows it's going to be fairly brutal. So he's going to step back, and just make sure that nobody stumbles in on the scene, and Frank and the chef can have their moment, and that it's all sort of kept relatively clean and there's no mess, as per the doc's instruction.
So Frank, while the last time I fed, I used brutal feed, and I've since had a conversation with Hank about that. He is going to drain him, but he's going to do it slowly and try to limit as much mess as possible.
Essentially, you actually feed more than you waste. Understood. There is a little bit of blood splatter, just because you're trying to find that balance within yourself. This is the first time you've tried to rein it in some.
I mean, sort of.
It's some, and some,
Yeah,
not all.
yeah.
It is a messy scene, but it is not a gruesome scene, unlike before. Most of the tarp does its job. You do get a little bit of cast off here and there in the dirt floor, but it's not on the walls, it's not on the ceiling, it's not coating your face as it did the first time or your shirt. And quickly, surprisingly quickly, the chef slumps in your arms. It's over almost as soon as it begins, it feels like, for you. I will say this, you get 2 points back. But only 2.
Okay.
This man has been fed on by 2 people today, in addition to you.
Alright, puts me down to 1, that's fine.
Okay.
So that was good, but it's not as good as like just ripping all of his blood out in one go. So he's like, yeah, it's alright. It's alright.
It'll do. If you have to, you could do that. It's not your preferred.
Yeah. And then he'll set about starting to wrap him up in the tarp, looking around the place for string and tape, etc., to package it up really nicely.
Easily accessible. There's like gardening twine here, as well as a little bit of outdoor tape for certain situations.
Is it possible to be able to conceal the body in a sort of temporary sense in the shed, so when we leave we can take the body with us?
And then
But
no
so-
one's going
so
to come
the-
out to the shed this evening.
Well, if no one's going to come out to the shed, I was leaving the shed. But like, I don't necessarily know that, so I'm going to kind of try and do my best to make it not look immediately obvious if someone was to stumble into the shed, with the intention of taking it away and dealing with it later.
I would say yes, but I would like a intelligence subterfuge from you.
Oh, great! I'm brilliant at that. It's one of my best.
2. We'll do a 2.
I'm awesome at intelligence subterfuge. Nah.
I even gave you a range you could get a 2. You lay the body down behind a number of larger, ornate pots that are currently empty along one wall, and then you kind of haphazardly lean bags of fertilizer and soil against it, so it just looks like a lumpy mess that maybe there's more soil or fertilizer behind it, and you think
That's good
that,
enough.
yeah, you think at a glance, that's fine, that's, yeah. You kick a little dirt over the blood splatter on the floor that got down there.
Wedge
It
one of
turns
the pots on his head.
Yeah. There you go. You think it's good. You don't think... You think they'd have to look to find a body is what you feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Okay.
Head back.
Some good work.
We'll head back. I'll say to Jules, you need new chef.
Oh, don't worry, that's being taken care of. It might be why my darling husband is late.
Do you want us to get rid of the body, or is your darling husband going to do that?
It's all packaged.
As long as if it's packaged, then he can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would like
Go-
to point out
go
he's
ahead.
not quite late yet.
One more time.
He's not
Just
quite
say-
late yet.
Not quite. One more. I'm sorry.
He's not late yet. You
Oh,
guys
he's not.
got here before he did.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if he could look after them, that would be great. It would reduce our chances of ending up back in the Mississippi again.
Well, sure. But yeah, it's in a tarp or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And he
Yeah.
can't tell that y'all did things to it, like obvious, the obvious thing.
I mean, the body's wrapped up in a tarp. It's fairly obvious what's happened to him. If you think that he'll undo the tarp to get rid of the body, it may be better for us to take it and dispose of it.
Out of character, of course, I don't think that he's gonna like examine the body, to dump it or anything.
I guess out of character, it depends if you know how he would get rid of a body or not.
Yeah, I imagine that Jules does know how he would get rid of the body.
He
but...
knows that Jules knows that Romero's thought process would be, if I don't know what's wrong with the body, even if they connect it to me and I can't tell them the details, they can't pin it on me.
Okay, great. Okay, possible deniability. Okay, great. Yeah, no, I'm just leave it in there. It'll be fine.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you both for taking care of that problem.
Have you got any more chefs you want to get rid of?
Oh,
Just let me know.
actually, that's what I like to bring up too. I told my husband to give me a list of people that are problematic for us. So yeah,
Oh, well, I'm more than happy to help out.
right. And if you want to like have some of them work for you, that's fine. If you want to just eat them, great too.
What do you mean, what?
Tools.
Hmm.
Or if you want to like keep them around to be the distraction for after we're, into the city, if you know what I mean.
Not really. It's fine.
Just don't eat everything you come across, Frank, yeah?
Right.
It's like a buffet.
Yeah.
Sometimes
yeah.
you don't want them all eaten.
Right.
Check with Jules on the dock.
Right. Because some of the tasty ones are of use and can be useful. Like my husband. I'm sure he's tasty. Out of character, I think Jules knows how he's tastes because she's fed off of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could find out.
I know that he's tasty, but he's also useful, so don't eat my husband, okay?
All right, you said that.
Yeah.
You
Don't.
hear a knock at the front door. Jules, you know that's unusual, but also typically if you are expected guests to have privacy, you will receive a polite knock before it is open.
Okay. Oh, here he is now.
There is not much time between the knock and the door opening, specifically is because it is Romero entering. But you see as he walks in, there is a middle-aged female behind him with graying hair. She seems a little bit stockier, a little bit wider, and she's actually dressed in a proper chef's attire, though she is not using the hat. And she will give a cursory glance around the front room, notice that you and your friends are in the far hall discussing something, and give you a polite nod, like an inclination of her head, but not say anything. Romero himself steps in, completely put together, head to toe. His hair is in place, his suit is on point. Like, there is nothing that you could pinpoint on this man that you would have to correct, that you would want to correct. In his arms, he has 2 bottles nestled of port in the left, and what looks to be like a very nice box of cigars in the right, and he gives you a brilliant smile.
Darling,
Love, good evening. I brought the newest chef, Potential. I know you said you would take care of the other and letting them go.
he did get let go. Also, kind of like a out of character thing. I'm pretty sure as soon as we hear the knock, Jules would blush with life. So yeah, let me blush with life with that.
Yes, please.
Oh, just to let you know, Frank absolutely doesn't.
Dick. So Jules is now at 300. So
Okay. If you'll excuse me, I will get all of this put away. Where would you like for us to sit?
where we normally sit, darling.
So he will go to the common room instead of like the living room afterwards. It's where you've been spending most of your time together. As he passes by, he will kind of subtly count the number of heads with you. You can tell he's figuring out how many glasses to bring.
I didn't break the head off.
As he passes by, he will stop the chef that has been following him silently till this point and introduce her as Evangeline Davis. She's going to be your new personal chef for the time being.
Nice to meet you. As you know, Jules, this is Frank, Hank, Peter, and then also Dr. Isaac.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance this evening. Madame, would you have a preference for your meal?
Oh, I think maybe we'll have like some snacks, some adore. I can't say the fucking word. Out of here. Little snacks. Yeah.
I got you.
Who's Dervers?
Yeah, they're. So yeah, those. And then give us some privacy tonight. Okay. And the kitchen's that way. And she'll point towards where it is.
Okay. And Romero was heading further down to where the kitchen is. He just wanted to be polite and actually introduce you. So he will take her on into the kitchen and get things settled.
Toasty, as
Yes.
he's walking away, I want to let my perception slip a little, and I want to try and scry his soul.
Okay. What are you trying to scry for?
I just want to know, like, I want to try and just learn a little bit more about him, because I don't really understand why Jules is keeping him around if he's just a normal person. So I'm guessing there's something special about him.
I can tell you right off of the bat, he has no supernatural attributes about him.
Okay.
But his strength of self and of personal character is quite strong in comparison to most others that you have used this on to this point. he does make a considerable impression upon your senses, despite not being of supernatural origin.
Okay.
You can also tell that there is something not quite right about him. It's not the same aura as if he would have committed diablerie, but there is something sinister, innate about Romero.
He's a bad boy. So Frank will just kind of like watch him go, and like his eyes will glaze over a little bit as he does so, and then as he comes out of it, he'll have like a knowing smile on his face.
Potentially could be useful, yes. You get settled in the main drawing room. Romero joins you with the bottles of port and a tray of glasses, and he'll set them down, and as a true consummate host, begin opening the bottle and pouring everyone a glass to savor together. My wife tells me good things about all of you, and that we could become fast friends and potentially business partners.
Indeed, darling.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
You must be the doctor. We always have use for a new friend in the medical field. He'll hand you the glass, Dr. Isaacs, as he says that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, forgive me. Where are my manners? This is the doctor, Isaacs, as you figured out. This is Frank, then Hank, and then the good police officer, Peter.
As each of you are introduced, he will hand you your glasses respectively before taking his own. Jules, you got yours first, I want to point out.
Oh, okay.
Before taking his own at the end and taking a seat across from everyone. Close to Jules, but where he can see all of you.
Frank will be like, I don't really understand why you've given me this, but okay. Like he would just look at it like confused.
Mm-hmm.
Jules is just kind of eye you, just mouth the words go along with it.
So, your order of business. What are you interested in the city? I understand that you took a trip with my wife recently and had a bit of fun in California.
Huh?
Oh, you remember, Frank, that life-changing experience
Oh, yeah.
in California. And just got back into town when we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I think Frank's really good with his hands. And as I told you, swimming the Mississippi. So, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We could have use of an individual good with their hands.
Do you mean like making things? I'm good at making things.
He's gonna look at you, Jules.
Yes, he's good at making things.
And could find work for you, yes.
There was a rainstorm and he built this lovely little hut. It's amazing.
Oh.
And he looks a bit unsure. He's unsure about like what he's allowed to say and what he's not allowed to say here. So he's kind of looking at Jules like, and getting rid of chefs.
Yeah, he got rid of the naughty chef.
Romero's brow is going to furrow very faintly as you say that, Jules. Specifically the descriptor for the chef.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a glance from the corner of his eye at you, but he keeps his attention towards the others and says nothing for a moment. I see. Then it is my thanks you have, Frank, for doing that.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I think that maybe beyond your talents of building items, if you have a knack for getting rid of naughty chefs, we could find particular work for you.
Oh, I would like that a lot.
He's also looking for a place on his own, too. Isn't that
Kind of.
right, Frank?
Yeah. I was looking for some work and somewhere to stay. I think I might have got an idea of somewhere I can stay, but I need to wait until after, that thing.
Sorry, darling. There's some things he doesn't want to share and can't share. And, we have some projects.
Romero is going to wave his hand and just shake his head. It's quite all right, I understand. In our line of business, it is wiser to speak with less detail than more when necessary. Peter. What?
Aye.
You're an unusual addition to this group that my wife is bringing home for introductions. What interest do you currently have in the goings-on of the city?
I know there's some weird stuff happening. People are going missing. And I'm interested to find out why.
I'd make a bargain with you.
Mm.
We're having issues in our own work because of some of these missing persons. Not only are a few of them some of ours, and he'll place a hand on Jules next to him, but they've kind of riled up your coworkers, which is making things a little more difficult for business in the city in general. If you're willing to work with me, I'm willing to give you access to some of our contacts that may or may not already speak with you in more detail.
More fingers and more pines is very useful.
Exactly. You look a little the other way occasionally for us, depending on what's going on. Of course, not putting you in too tight of a bind. And we'll figure out which pies you want fingers in.
I'm sure we can come to some arrangement.
And Jules, he's going to give your hand a squeeze very gently.
She'll squeeze it back and then smile at him and at the others.
Have you still got your, things on? You don't crush his hand to bits.
Oh, I don't think it's done. I hope not.
Oh, different scene. You're good. Different scene.
Oh, we broke one.
New husband time.
It's okay, I can fix it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Me too.
Just put the hand back together. Don't worry,
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Don't worry, this only costs $1,000. New hand. Forget.
As comedic as that would be for the sudden, startled realization, no, that this is a different scene. That's a worn off for the moment.
Surprise! You're gonna die.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah.
He will redirect his attention to Hank at this point and give you a very polite smile. Not quite a warm smile, but definitely polite.
And Hank will return that with a polite smile and a nod back.
I recognize you. I've had a few business dealings in the area of the 500.
Yeah.
You're a hard person to miss outside when your shift is on.
That's the general idea. Yeah. So it's just nice to be acquainted with yourself and Miss Jules here.
Likewise, and as long as your boss is amenable, I'm certain that we would love to work together. I won't
You
offer
need
you
to take that
anything.
up with the boss, yeah.
Yes, of course. I won't offer you anything currently. I wouldn't want to put you at odds or in a difficult situation.
I totally understand. That's fair. Yeah.
But as long as Jules says so, you are welcome to visit.
Thank you.
And then he'll finally set his gaze on Dr. Isaacs again. So,
I'll give the wine a swirl.
so you're just not looking. You're just looking at your wine.
I'm being a nice guest, acting like I know a little something.
Fair enough. Romero will clear his throat to get your attention, Dr. Isaacs.
Yes.
So your current line of work, what do you focus on?
Toxicology mostly.
Interesting.
But if you need any physical doctoring, any medical assistance, things like gunshots and that sort of thing, I have experience.
He looks a little surprised at the suggestion that you just made. Sounds like a truly unfortunate situation, but I'll keep that generous offer in mind.
I don't know why we should hide things here. We're all friends.
True that we are. Fast friends.
Well, then I will speak frankly. What is it that your studies are in need of?
I need supplies. I don't need much for studies. I help out those less fortunate. I would need supplies for that.
Very well. As long as you offer your capabilities, we can see what we can do for supplies.
Very well.
With that, there is a polite knock at the door, but it remains shut. Romero's going to get up. He's going to place his glass down, get up, cross the room, open the door, and bring in the hors d'oeuvres that you requested because you also requested privacy. And he's going to set them down on the table between everyone for you to help yourselves.
Toasty, is there like a plant next to me or something?
Yeah, is there a plan?
Yeah, because as soon as Romero's back's turned, Hank is like,
So is
I'll put his empty glass down.
So
It's gonna be some
because
fairly
I know where this
inebriated
is
plants.
going- Yes, there is a plant very close to you.
Right.
They're throughout the room. These are the very nice large pots that you saw in the shed itself, and you can tell that these are well maintained, well cared for, and a couple of them, probably in the far corners, might be very well made plastic replicas.
Cool.
Yep. You very quickly just reach over and dip it out. Anybody else trying to do this?
Jules definitely would.
Yeah, I'll follow
Jules-
his lead.
I can't imagine that Frank would even think about it. He's just holding onto his glass and it's kind of like, I don't really understand what I'm doing with this.
Jules, you would be able to partake currently
Oh, okay. Well, then in that case,
because you're blushed.
yeah, that's true. Then
Just
she'll
gonna have to Ralph it up later.
wrap it up later. It's fine.
It's a very, very nice port.
It's going
You
to taste nice
imagine-
than the Mississippi anyway.
Yeah, I imagine it was like nicer with the
Yeah.
Mississippi.
That's not hard to do.
Don't knock it till you tried it.
I'm gonna tell you this. That's not hard to do. Grew up there. I understand.
I hate to going back to it. I hate to be really vulgar, but was there crawfish coming out of his mouth as well, or anything but just water?
Probably
Thankfully,
some
no.
snails.
Oh, okay.
A couple of eels, yeah.
Thankfully, at this point in time, no. If he decides to sleep in the Mississippi, there may be a different situation in the future.
That might happen.
Yeah,
Frog eggs.
yeah.
They'll have to go to the Gulf of Mexico to find him.
He gets caught by one of the ship anchors, wakes up
Yeah.
way out at sea.
Oh, I just walk back. It's fine.
Where's Frank? Panama. Okay.
That's what happened with the Evergreen. It was fighting with Frank and trying to like move.
It wanted to go the opposite direction. I was walking doing my hardest.
Okay. Really quick, we'll wrap up the last session of the year for us here shortly. You have a very pleasant business conversation for the evening. Romero will offer for each of you to stay the night in guest rooms if you would like. He anticipated this, Jules. You imagine he made prior arrangements for their rooms just in case, especially because you invited people so late in the evening. He knows that most others may not be carrying the new hours that you are.
Okay. Or most of them will be carrying the new hours that I am.
He wasn't certain, so he wanted to
Oh.
make sure they had a place to stay if they needed it.
All right.
Specifically because these are your guests and potential business partners.
That's very thoughtful. I love my husband. Well, Jules loves her husband.
He's very attentive, and he made sure to show up on point tonight. And he brought the really nice stuff from what you could taste.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He brought the expensive stuff. So like when you see them dipping it into the plants and you take the first sip, you're just like, that's the multiple $100 bottles.
The plants might appreciate it.
Then she'll look, and then she'll just pause for a moment, and then collect herself, and then so like, I don't want a frenzy check, and then like, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just one of those situations of this is the very first time that has happened. Going forward, you understand that is potentially a problem for your temper.
Yeah. Thank goodness she's not a toreador.
Yeah. We will pick up on the start of the following evening. Do you guys stay at Jules's home and accept the
No, Hank would
hospitality?
head back.
Okay.
Oh, before the night's out, Jules will feed on hubby.
Okay. That is how you will close out your pleasant evening together then.
Okay.
Peter, Frank, and Dr. Isaacs, do any of you stay at the Fontenot estate?
No.
Negative.
Nah, go head home.
Alright. That being said, is there any final business you try to attend to before the night wraps and you have to return to your places?
No.
Okay. With that, have 3 experience points, and we conclude our final episode for this year.
Boom.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to include like expenditures in the like stream thing, or?
No, that's okay. That can be amongst us, because it will be a reveal later, I feel like.
Okay.
Okay, let me just close out. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you in New Year on when, Toasty?
See, our first episode of the new year for 2025 will be on the 5th.
Gotcha. And then Chris will be starting Fallout Home Sweet Home on the 8th of January.
Indeed.
Yeah. So there you go. Thanks for joining us, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right.
Have a
bye.
great holidays.
Merry Christmas.